Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Next weekend, we are taking the Bronco out wheeling, and there's a couple things we gotta do to make sure this thing's running perfect. So the first thing we gotta address is kind of a big and kind of an important one. Something I've ran into before. This thing started weird again. It started acting like I shredded the flywheel, the teeth on the flywheel again. I'm not sure what happened, and I think what's going on is this has a newer ZF5 transmission in it. So I hopped on O'Reilly's and looked for a starter for a 1995 F250 with a 351, and the manual transmission starter that gave me was a different part number. So I went ahead and bought it. Here's the two of them side by side. This is what was in the truck. And as you can see, now that I pulled this thing out, you can see there is definitely some sparklies in there that we don't want to see. And the pilot bearing's kind of messed up too. And it just doesn't look right. Doing a side by side comparison with the new one I bought, I was assuming that the throw was going to be different, but it looks like the throw is going to be about the same. After doing a bunch of research, I found out these starters are only different because of the internal solenoid. That was something that Ford did in the OBS era. Didn't know that. Putting this starter in the ZF5 isn't going to help me prevent shredding teeth. I don't know what's causing me to shred teeth. It could be the helicoils that I had to put in on the ZF5. It could have shifted it a little bit and that could have caused it to back out. I'm not 100% sure. I really don't know. I did a bunch of research, couldn't really find anything, and now I'm just like kind of more confused as to why this keeps happening to me. Because if you've been watching the channel regularly, you'll know this is the second time that I've had issues with the flywheel teeth shredding. I'm going to return the OBS one and go probably just warranty this brick nose one again, considering I couldn't get this thing to spin on the bench properly. Hopefully that's my problem. I know the starter's been acting up, so they have a lifetime warranty. Might as well utilize it. We are back from the store. We got the new starter installed. I did a couple things differently. I put in some longer bolts. This is the old bolt for reference, like 3/4 of an inch. I think I put in about 1.25 inch long bolt, or maybe just an inch. It's a good amount longer. There was definitely a lot more thread engagement onto the transmission, so I'm hoping that holds it tighter. The starter was tight, by the way. Like, I pulled it out. It wasn't loose bolts like it was last time, which is what caused the teeth to shred. But I had to helicoil both of those holes on the transmission because they both stripped out. One of them is a little crooked, I noticed. I was very cautious on the way I positioned the starter this time. I made sure I had it up and against the firewall as close as possible. Hopefully this works. Let's crank it and see if she starts good. All right, if this cranks good, I'm gonna scoot it up a little bit, because the next project is inside the cab. That started exactly like it should have. It sounded like a normal truck start. Let's do it one more time. Well, I guess that fixed it. I guess I overthought it. I definitely jumped to some conclusions on that one, which maybe I shouldn't have, but that's whatever. I bought a starter, I returned a starter. No big deal. Didn't really like cost me anything. If I have issues with the starter, I'll definitely let you guys know. I've tried my best to document everything I've done, even if it just is me being stupid and buying a starter for no reason. I'm glad that was fixed. The rest of the stuff today is fun, exciting upgrades, so let's dive into those. All right, next area we're gonna work on is in the interior right here on the dash. I got this accessory mount bracket from JC Customs. I got this for Christmas. I had my girlfriend get it for me for Christmas, and we're finally gonna install it. I'm kind of super excited. So I'll be able to mount my phone and my radio up here, along with like other stuff. They'll be like, it's super modules, so it's gonna be kind of cool. First thing we gotta do is get my old radio bracket off, and then see how we're gonna mount this. All right, we got our holes marked here and here. Now we're gonna drill them out and throw some rib nuts in them. All right, unfortunately, it turns out that this hole collides with the HVAC controls, so I'm gonna have to pull this out to finish drilling that. Okay, so the step bit doesn't really get past the other piece of plastic that's back here. So I found a drill bit size that was similar to the rib nut opening, and then I can stick it through and drill out the other side the same size without blowing this out, and then that allows the rib nut to poke through and then compress and then still not poke through on the other side, which I'll show you in a minute. Now that'll give me just enough to crimp in this rib nut. Okay, rib nut's installed. As you can see, it doesn't poke into the radio or HVAC controls at all. And to be honest, now that I was thinking about it, I didn't have to take this off if I didn't use this step bit. I could have, you know, done a pilot hole and then worked my way up with standard drill bits and then just drilled it out with this. And then I probably would have been able to just clear it, but it would have been still tight nonetheless. So now we gotta put this back in. This is a mess. This is super broken. When I pulled the dash out years ago to clean all the mice poop under here, this got messed up and now it's just like stuck on defrost and not on anything else. Same with my hot and cold. It doesn't really fully work, as you can see. So I need to tear into this dash, possibly buy another dash just to fix all this and try and make this functional again, because I would like to put AC in this thing. Anyways, let's get this back together and mount this thing and see how she looks. Alright guys, the install on this guy is fully complete. I am super happy with the way it turned out. I am so stoked to mount all the things. Unfortunately, I don't have any attachments right now, so I'm gonna have to wait on that. Like I said before, I want a phone mount and a radio mount for sure. Eventually, I want to buy a built-in radio for this thing. I would like to figure out how to make this kind of a bracket for that, since I don't really use the ashtray anyways. If I can mount the radio right here and then just have the handheld sit up here, I think that would work really, really well. So that's the plan currently. And then a magnetic phone mount, and then possibly, I don't know, something else, who knows. This thing is sturdy as shit too. With the riv nuts in place, this thing is solid. I'm impressed. Glad that's done. I cleaned the interior while I was in here. It was much needed. I'm stoked. Truck looks a lot better now. Alright guys, so the company by the name of SPELAB hit me up. They wanted to collaborate with me and give them a product review on their differential cover here. So I started looking into them as a company, trying to figure out who they were and what they did. They sell a bunch of auto parts and a bunch of generic stuff, but also a bunch of like diesel specific stuff. They're actually one of the only companies nowadays that sell like weight loss kits for modern diesels, which is the main reason why I wanted to collaborate with them, is because down the road I'm still thinking about buying a 6.4 Power Stroke. If I were to get a 6.4, those vehicles have to have their weight loss done to them because they're just too heavy of a truck, to word it lightly. So I said, yeah, send over the diff cover, I'll review it, I'll throw it on the Bronco, I'll throw it into some rocks and see what happens. So they had two options. They had a cast aluminum and a billet aluminum. I went with the billet aluminum because I've never heard of a billet aluminum diff cover. There's only like two that I could find for a Sterling axle. And I think I know why now, because they're require a lot of material. This thing is thick. It's kind of insane how thick this thing is. I don't think the camera's really gonna do it justice. It is a thick boy. Because it being billet, it needs a little more thickness for the strength. If this thing does bash a rock, it probably won't crack with how thick it is, to be honest with you, but we're sure gonna find out. This is a complete product review. If this thing does crack and break, I will let you guys know, and I won't sugarcoat it or anything. And I will say on the inside, the machining work is very fast. It is, they definitely ran their mill hot and fast, so, and you can definitely see that. They did spend some time to surface the gasket area better than they cut out the inside, so I do like the features that it has. The features are all the same, where it has a fill plug, a drain plug, and a sight glass, which is cool in theory. It should work in theory, right? But yeah, we're still gonna throw it on, and we're gonna take it to 5 Mile next weekend and see if she holds up to some abuse. The kit does come with some socket head cap screws, which I think are a really nice piece, and a new gasket, of course. So it did come with everything we need besides diff fluid to put it in. They were also nice enough to hook it up with a 15% off discount code for you guys. You can use code Smith15 at checkout to get 15% off anything in the store, including those weight loss kits, which helps a lot because those aren't cheap. So go check them out. With that being said, let's get underneath this truck and swap a diff cover. Looks like we're due for a diff gasket anyways, so good timing. Oh, wow. What a surprise, guys. All my bolts are loose. Who would have thought? Oh, yeah. Well, she's due for fluid. I was gonna reuse this, but apparently I've never done my diff fluid. No, I had to have.
Oh, she's nasty. Damn it, I did not want to buy gear oil. Oh yeah, she's nasty. Definitely not reusing that. A little concerning how nasty she is, to be honest with you. There's water in here for sure. That's some nasty gear oil though, and this stuff's only like 4 years old. Like, we probably got less than 10,000 miles on this gear oil, so it's a little concerning, really milkshaky. All right, we got everything cleaned up and wiped down. I also cleaned the surface pretty good. Gonna RTV up that gasket, and then we'll get the new diff cover installed. Alrighty guys, we got the new diff cover on. This thing is a unit. I torqued all the bolts to spec this time, so hopefully I don't have a nice ring around the gasket. And the little layer of RTV should have helped too. So now we gotta fill this thing. I'm actually really excited to fill this thing with a top fill. I do like this fill feature though. It's kind of nice, the fill and the drain. Now we just gotta hope that this is accurate. I know there are also magnetic drain plugs too on the top and bottom. The top's not gonna see much because it's channeled, but oh yeah, that is so nice. I have never drained a quart that fast in anything. That was awesome. I always like to only cut one cap of the gear oil, just because if you end up cutting all of them and you only use half a quart on the last bottle and you just have gear oil that's open and exposed, it sucks, it stinks. That's so crazy. I have never been able to fill up gear oil this fast. This is awesome. All right, 2 quarts down. Time for quart number 3. That should be at 3.5 quarts, so. Oh. Huh. Well, the side glass filled up already, but it's supposed to be 3.5 quarts, so I need to crack the fill plug on the front side and see where we're at then. That's a little bit of a bummer. I had a feeling it wasn't gonna be accurate. It's cool to see though. You can see like the color and the consistency, so long as that mixes, right? Because the side glass has like an inch or 2 of billet around it, so I don't know how well it's gonna mix. So this might be kind of a gimmick. I should have put the Bronco on the lift, but the battery died from leaving the door open, doing all the interior shit for so long. So now we're here doing shit on the floor like cavemen. Time for the bag. The bag is more difficult on this. Now usually the bags are what you want, but in this application, it's kind of working against us. Damn, that's 3.5 quarts. Why are you not coming out of the fill plug? Probably because the capacity of this diff has more. All right, we're at the bottom of this, so I'm gonna put this in the bag, or in the bottle, just so it's easier to get out. I guess I could have just done this, but I promise this way's faster. This way will be easier to control too. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay, it didn't spill out, but it's right there. Like I could stick my finger in and I feel it. So I'm calling that good enough. So, sweet. I don't have any extra gear oil though, so hopefully it doesn't leak. That is job done. Hell yeah.
Alrighty guys, that was a really successful diff cover swap. Kind of bummed I had to swap fluids. I was really hoping to reuse fluids, but I'm glad I did because we found out something that was pretty bad. There was a lot of water in that, as you guys saw. I think the gasket all around was leaking, and like snow wheeling and all the other stuff I've been doing. Got a lot of water in it. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know where the water came from. But yeah, now we got the sight glass to see if the color of the fluid changes, hopefully. We'll see if that sight glass actually functions. Don't forget to check out the stuff the SPELAB has. I'll link their description below. Use code SMITH15 for 15% off anything in the store. It'll help support the channel. And stay tuned for next week because we're gonna take this thing out to 5 Mile and we're gonna bash that diff cover on some rocks. Don't forget to subscribe and we'll see you then. Peace.